If you're a man over 60, I'm going to say something bold, maybe even shocking. And I need you to listen closely, because what I'm about to share could fundamentally change the way you see your health, your body, and the years you have ahead of you. Your bedroom problems, your poor circulation that leaves your hands and feet feeling like ice, your fading energy that makes the afternoon feel like a mountain to climb, and that slow erosion of confidence you feel as a man. They are not a mandatory sentence handed down by the calendar. They're not caused by age. They're caused by something far more insidious, something that has been quietly at work for years. A silent saboteur inside your own body. That enemy is chronic, low-grade inflammation. It's a fire silently attacking your blood vessels, turning them from flexible, open highways into stiff, narrow backroads. It's silently smothering your testosterone production, telling your body to power down. It's silently attacking the very essence of your manhood, cell by cell. And here's the shocker, the part that modern medicine often overlooks in its rush to write a prescription. The healing process, the beginning of putting out that internal fire, can begin right now. It can start with 3 humble, powerful ingredients that are very likely already sitting in your kitchen. I'm talking about turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon. My name is Dr. Mark James. I'm a board-certified men's health specialist, a professor at the prestigious Baylor College of Medicine, and I've spent over 30 years in the trenches, working side by side with older men, helping them restore their vitality, their strength, and their sense of self. My mission has always been to do this naturally, to work with the body, not against it, avoiding the risky pills with their laundry lists of side effects and the invasive treatments that can feel like a violation. But what truly shaped my philosophy, what opened my eyes to the profound healing intelligence that lies within us all, wasn't a medical degree or a scientific journal. It was a goat, yes, a goat. Years ago, I watched her roam through hedges and fields, a picture of quiet intention. She would choose her plants one by one, methodically, ignoring lush greens to instead pick specific herbs, plants that I, with my medical training, knew had potent medicinal value. She didn't have a textbook. She didn't need a prescription. She simply trusted her body. And in that moment, a profound thought struck me. What if we, as modern humans, did the same? What if we started listening to the deep, innate wisdom that still exists within us? That's the paradox of our time. We've been taught to fear aging, to see it as a disease of inevitable decline. But your body, even at 60, 70, or 80, still knows how to heal. It has an incredible, resilient capacity for repair. It just needs the right tools, the right signals, the right building blocks. And these 3 herbs, this trio of ancient healers, may just be your missing link. So, in this video, I'm going to pull back the curtain. I will show you exactly how turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon can work synergistically to restore your circulation, protect your precious testosterone, and revive your manhood naturally and powerfully. And near the end, I'll share the simple, precise method for how to combine all 3 into one daily drinker golden elixir so you can begin to feel the difference in just days. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss another natural health tip designed especially for men over 60. And if this message speaks to you, if it resonates with something deep inside, just type 1 in the comments. If not, if this isn't for you, type 0 so I know how to better serve you next time. So before we talk about turmeric, ginger, or cinnamon, I want to take you back to a moment that changed the way I see healing forever. It didn't happen in a sterile clinic or a high-tech lab. It happened in a quiet, sun-drenched field with a goat named Emily. And what she taught me about the body's natural intelligence, its innate drive to seek out what it needs to heal, may just be the key to unlocking your strength as a man, no matter your age. 1. A lesson from the goat, Emily, natural intelligence and healing through herbs. Before we get into the hard science, let me share something personal, a story that fundamentally shifted the way I practice medicine to this very day. Years ago, During a study trip focused on ethnobotany, I found myself visiting a rural herb farm. It was the kind of place where time seemed to slow down, where the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming lavender, where nature still speaks louder than machines. And it was there that I met a goat named Emily. She wasn't just any goat, content to munch on whatever was in front of her. She had a distinct personality, a calm and deliberate rhythm, and as I soon realized, a kind of wisdom that was hard to explain through the lens of my medical training. Every day, Emily was led to graze freely along a long, rambling hedge that bordered the farm. It was a dense tapestry of different plants, bushes, and herbs. But instead of eating everything in sight like most farm animals would, she was remarkably selective. She was a connoisseur. She would approach a plant, sniff it delicately, pause as if in contemplation, and then either take a few careful bites or move on entirely. She walked past lush, seemingly delicious leaves without so much as a second glance, only to seek out a smaller, less conspicuous herb a few feet away. I was fascinated. My scientific curiosity was piqued, so I started paying closer attention, even taking notes. And what I noticed over the next few days absolutely amazed me. Emily was consistently selecting well-known medicinal herbs. She was picking yarrow, a plant known for its wound healing and anti-inflammatory properties. She was nibbling on plantain leaves, a classic digestive aid. She sought out dandelion greens, famous for their liver-supporting benefits. It was as if she were walking through nature's pharmacy, filling a prescription written by her own body. No training, no books, no veterinarian guiding her. Just pure, unadulterated instinct. And it hit me with the force of a revelation. Her body knew. It knew what it needed to maintain its balance. It knew how to heal, how to correct itself, and it knew precisely which natural tools to use to accomplish that healing. That moment shifted my entire view of health. It reconnected me to an ancient truth. We humans used to have that same intuitive relationship with the plant world. Our ancestors knew which root soothed a fever, which leaves calmed an upset stomach, which barks eased pain. Somewhere along the way, in our modern world of sterile packaging and synthetic compounds, we lost that connection. We were taught to outsource our healing, to believe the answers only came from a lab. But that instinct is not gone forever. It's just dormant. And in my decades of working with older men, I have found, with absolute certainty, that when we return to nature simply, consistently, and with intention, that dormant instinct awakens and healing begins again. So today, I want you to think like Emily. I want you to trust that your body, despite what you may have been told, still knows how to heal. It just needs the right herbs, the right support, and a little bit of patience. And that brings us to the first of these incredible healing plants, a golden spice that's been called solid gold for your arteries, and it might just change everything you thought you knew about aging. 2. Circulation and erectile decline in men over 60. I'll never forget the look in Robert's eyes. He was 63 years old, a retired firefighter, a man who had spent his life running into burning buildings and carrying people to safety. He was the very picture of strength and courage. Yet, sitting across from me in my office, his shoulders were slumped, his voice barely a whisper, carrying a question I've heard far too many times. Doc, is this just my new normal? His voice cracked a little when he said it. He was talking about his energy, which would vanish by 3 p.m. He was talking about his performance in the bedroom, which had become a source of anxiety and shame. He was talking about his very sense of manhood, which he felt was slowly, inexorably slipping away. And he was terrified it was a one-way street, that it was permanent. Here's what I told him, and what I want you, right now, to know and internalize. What's happening to your body after 60 is not just aging. That's a lazy, dismissive label. It is, more accurately, circulation decline, driven by inflammation. Think of your circulatory system when you were 25. It was a network of superhighways wide, smooth, and flexible. Blood rich with oxygen and nutrients, flowed freely to every corner of your body, your brain, keeping you sharp and focused, your muscles, giving you power and stamina, and yes, your penis, allowing for firm, reliable erections. Now, picture what happens over decades of low-grade inflammation. That fire begins to damage the delicate inner lining of those highways, a lining called the endothelium. It becomes scarred, stiff, and sticky. Plaque begins to build up. Those superhighways become narrow, congested country roads. The flow of life-giving blood slows to a trickle. When those vessels narrow, when the production of a critical molecule called nitric oxide, the master signal for blood vessels to relax and open up, plummets, and when testosterone signals weaken, performance suffers. It doesn't just suffer in the bedroom. It suffers everywhere. You feel colder, especially in your hands and feet. You feel slower, both mentally and physically. You feel less driven, less motivated, less alive. But there's something deeper at play here, something intensely emotional, because when blood stops flowing to the one place that is so intrinsically tied to masculine identity, many men stop feeling like men. It's a silent crisis of identity. I get that. I've seen it in the eyes of hundreds of my patients, and if I'm being honest, I've felt a shadow of it in some seasons of my own life, too. But the good news, the incredible, life-altering news, is that this story isn't over. Your arteries are not made of concrete. They are living tissue. They can soften. They can become more flexible. They can open again. And your body, especially yours, is capable of far more healing and regeneration than you've ever been told. You don't need a magic blue pill to feel strong and vital again. What you need is a fundamental reset, a daily, natural rhythm that coaxes your blood back to life. And it all starts with ancient tools that have stood the unwavering test of time. And the first of those tools is a golden root, a vibrant spice that ancient warriors once carried into battle for strength and healing. A spice that modern science now proves can help clear out your arteries and reignite your inner fire. Let's talk about turmeric. 3. Turmeric. Anti-inflammatory, testosterone boosting, artery protecting. If there is one single herb I wish every man over 60 would commit to using daily, it is, without a doubt, turmeric. Not just because it's been used for thousands of years in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine, not just because of its beautiful golden color, but because I have personally witnessed what it does, again and again, in men who thought their best years were long behind them, in men who felt they were beyond repair. I think of one of my patients, Sam. He came into my office looking utterly exhausted, not just physically, but mentally. He described a deep, pervasive fatigue that felt like he was walking through wet cement all day. His cholesterol was high, his blood pressure was creeping up, and his intimate life with his wife of 40 years had faded into a painful silence. He said to me, "Doc, I feel like there's a slow leak in my system, and I don't know where it's coming from or how to plug it." What he didn't realize, what most men don't realize, is that the leak was inflammation, a constant, low-grade, smoldering fire spreading silently through his blood vessels day after day. This is where turmeric performs its magic. Turmeric contains a powerhouse compound called curcumin. Curcumin is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents on the planet. But it doesn't just reduce swelling in a sore knee. Its true genius lies in its ability to go deeper, to help repair the delicate lining of your arteries, that endothelium we talked about. That lining is ground zero for your circulation. It's where nitric oxide is produced. And nitric oxide is the chemical messenger that tells your blood vessels to relax, to open up, to allow blood to surge through. This is absolutely essential for a healthy erection, but it's also crucial for heart health, brain function, and overall energy. When inflammation is high, that system breaks down. The endothelium gets damaged, nitric oxide production plummets, and blood flow suffers. Erections weaken or disappear, energy drops. And to make matters worse, that same systemic inflammation sends stress signals to your testicles, suppressing the production of testosterone. But when curcumin enters the picture consistently, it acts like a master firefighter. It begins to systematically cool that internal fire. It helps heal the endothelium. It creates space again. It allows nitric oxide to breathe, to be produced, and to do its job. Incredibly, studies also show that it can help your testicles become more sensitive to luteinizing hormone LH, the very hormone from your brain that tells your body to produce more testosterone. Sam started using turmeric daily. It was simple. Just half a teaspoon of good quality organic turmeric powder in a glass of warm water, always with a tiny pinch of black pepper, which contains piperine, a compound that boosts curcumin's absorption by up to 2,000%. Within a few weeks, the changes began. He said he felt less heavy, as if a weight had been lifted. His joints moved more easily in the morning. His mind felt clearer. His mornings felt brighter. And yes, his intimacy with his wife returned, not with pressure or anxiety, but with a renewed warmth and confidence. Turmeric doesn't work overnight like a drug. It works deeply, systemically. And when taken consistently, it patiently helps your body remember its own inherent strength. Now, imagine if that newly healing blood flow could be encouraged to reach even further, to push into the smallest, most delicate microvessels of your body. There's another herb that specializes in exactly that, and its power lies in the penetrating warmth it brings. Let's talk about ginger. 4. Ginger improves circulation, nerve sensitivity, and emotional vitality. There's a kind of warmth that the body remembers, a warmth that goes beyond mere temperature. It's a feeling of life, of energy. It's circulation that fully reaches the tips of your fingers and toes, and yes, that reaches deep into the tissues of your manhood. That is the unique gift of ginger, and for so many men I've worked with, this one simple, pungent root has profoundly changed how they feel, not just in their body, but in their spirit. When I think of ginger, I immediately think of Jim. He was 71, a widower, a quiet man who didn't say much during our first visit. His words were few, but they were heavy with meaning. He told me he missed feeling alive, and he wasn't just talking about sex. He was talking about the full spectrum of human feeling. "I don't feel anything anymore, Doc," he said, his gaze fixed on the floor. "Not even when I want to. It's like everything is grey." I knew exactly what he meant. For many older men, the struggle isn't just about physical performance. It's about connection, sensation, and the simple, vibrant feeling of being engaged with life. It's about feeling the warmth of your partner's hand, the joy of a good laugh, the spark of desire. When that goes numb, life loses its color. Ginger is so powerful because it works into distinct and complementary directions. First, and most famously, it is a master of circulation. It acts as a potent vasodilator, which is a fancy way of saying it helps relax and open up your blood vessels. But it has a special affinity for the microvasculature, the tiniest, most delicate blood vessels in your body. The very kind that are most crucial for feeding your nerve endings, your brain, and the intricate vascular structures of your erection. Ginger helps expand those narrow channels, letting warm, oxygenated blood return to places where it's been missing for years. Second, and just as important, ginger awakens the nervous system. Its active compounds, like gingerol, have been shown to have a positive effect on neurotransmitter function. It can gently improve dopamine and serotonin production, the very brain chemicals that drive arousal, motivation, pleasure, and that feeling of emotional warmth. It helps to sharpen sensation, making touch feel more meaningful again. Jim started a simple ritual, fresh ginger tea every morning. He would grate about a teaspoon of fresh ginger root into a mug, pour hot water over it, and let it steep for 10 minutes. Within 2 weeks, he came back to my office, and he said something that has stayed with me ever since. He looked at me, a small smile playing on his lips, and said, I don't feel flat anymore. It was such a simple shift, but it was everything. Because when warm blood returns to cold tissues and when nerves reawaken, your body remembers joy. Your body remembers how to feel. That's not me being poetic. That's biology. And it's something that the humble ginger root helps to restore. Now, what if that same surge of blood flow and renewed nerve support could be perfectly paired with better hormonal balance and rock-steady blood sugar control? What if the next critical step in restoring your masculine strength was something that not only warmed your body, but brought its entire operating system back into a state of calm, stable balance? There's one sweet, familiar spice that does just that. And most men have absolutely no idea how powerful it really is. Let's talk about cinnamon. 5. Cinnamon balances blood sugar, supports hormones and nerve function. There's something deeply comforting about cinnamon. The smell, the warmth, the way it evokes memories of holidays or a cozy morning. But hiding behind that comfort lies a kind of medicinal power that most men completely overlook, especially when it comes to the critical triad of hormones, energy, and performance. I remember a patient named Thomas, 66 years old, diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and tired all the time. He painted a vivid picture of his daily struggle. He told me, "Doc, I wake up feeling foggy, like my brain is wrapped in cotton. I have a decent breakfast, but I crash hard after lunch. And by the evening, I don't have anything left in the tank. Not for my wife, not for my hobbies, not even for myself." That hit me hard, because I knew that his exhaustion wasn't a character flaw. It was a biological prison. I knew exactly what was going on. His blood sugar was running the show. When your blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day, it sends your entire body on a violent roller coaster. This instability is profoundly damaging. It massively inflames your blood vessels, making the work of turmeric even harder. It dulls and damages your delicate nerve endings, a process called neuropathy, which directly impacts erectile sensitivity. It signals your body to store fat, especially around the belly, which in turn converts testosterone into estrogen, and it directly suppresses your testosterone production and drains your brain of the motivation and drive you need to feel like yourself. Over time, it literally steals your sensitivity, both physically and emotionally. That's where cinnamon comes in as a quiet hero. And I must be specific here. I'm talking about true Ceylon cinnamon, not the cheap, common cassia variety you find in most supermarkets. It's crucial. Ceylon cinnamon contains compounds that help your body regulate blood sugar levels with remarkable efficiency. It improves your cell's sensitivity to insulin, which means your body doesn't have to pump out as much of this hormone to get the job done. This reduces insulin resistance, which is a cornerstone of so many age-related health problems. By stabilizing your blood sugar, cinnamon protects the very cells in your testicles and brain that are responsible for healthy hormone production. It doesn't just give you stable, all-day energy. It shields the entire system that fuels your masculinity. When Thomas started adding true Ceylon cinnamon to his daily routine, just half a teaspoon sprinkled in his morning oatmeal or stirred into his coffee, he began to notice subtle but profound changes. The afternoon energy crash disappeared. His mind felt steadier, less foggy. And slowly, as his internal systems came back into balance, his body began to respond. The numbness in his feet began to recede. His touch meant something again. And for the first time in a very long time, so did hers. Cinnamon may seem simple, but its effect is deep and foundational. It brings the body back into rhythm, back into balance. And when your blood sugar, hormones, and nerves are all working together in harmony, performance isn't something you have to force. It becomes natural. It is restored. But what happens when we stop treating these herbs as individual players and start combining them as one powerful, daily ritual? That's when the real, synergistic transformation begins. Let me show you what happens when you bring turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon together. 6. Combined power of the three spices. Golden circulation shot for male vitality. You've now seen what turmeric, ginger, and cinnamon can each do on their own. Turmeric, the inflammation fighter. Ginger, the circulation booster. Cinnamon, the great balancer. But here's where it gets truly exciting, because when you combine them, something greater than the sum of their parts happens. I've seen it in my practice time and time again. The effect isn't just additive, it's synergistic. They work together like three old friends, each one amplifying the strengths and covering the weaknesses of the others. Think of it this way: turmeric is the master firefighter, rushing in to cool the chronic fires of inflammation that are damaging your arteries and suppressing your hormones. Ginger is the expert plumber, coming in right behind the firefighter to warm up and open the pipes, your blood vessels, especially the smallest ones that have been frozen or clogged for years, restoring flow and sensation. And cinnamon is the master electrician, carefully recalibrating your body's entire electrical grid, your metabolic system, by stabilizing your blood sugar and ensuring your hormonal signals are firing correctly and consistently. Together, they touch nearly every system critical to the male body: your arteries, your nerves, your hormones, your metabolism, even your mood and cognitive function. I started calling the simple, daily combination of these three spices the golden circulation shot. And no, it's not some fancy, overpriced supplement or a complicated powder you have to order online. It's just 3 spices from your kitchen, prepared in the right way and taken daily with intention. It's a small, warm drink you can have in the morning or before bed that acts as a powerful, consistent message to your body. A message that says, I'm still listening, I'm on your side, I still want to heal. Men who use this simple combination consistently report so much more than just stronger blood flow for erections. They describe clearer thinking and the lifting of brain fog. They talk about having warmer hands and feet for the first time in decades. They notice a steady, reliable morning energy that doesn't crash and burn by noon. And yes, they describe a return of intimacy that feels natural, spontaneous, and welcome, not forced or anxious. That spark, that essential part of themselves that many thought was gone for good, starts flickering back to life. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to support the wise, resilient man you've always been with the simple, powerful tools your body already understands and knows how to use. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't discover this precise formula in a sterile lab. I learned it by listening to men just like you, men who were fed up with the conventional answers and were willing to give nature one more chance. One of them was Henry, and his story still moves me to this day, because what happened to him in just 3 short weeks was nothing short of remarkable. Let me tell you what happened. 7. Real case story. Henry, 68, restored erectile strength after 3 weeks. I still remember the first time I met Henry. He was 68 years old, a retired civil engineer, a man who had spent his life designing bridges and solving complex structural problems. He was quiet, polite, thoughtful, and you could feel a palpable sense of embarrassment and frustration just to be sitting in my office, talking about this. He looked me straight in the eye, the way an engineer does when presenting a problem, and said, "Doc, I love my wife more than anything, but it's been nearly a year. I don't feel anything anymore, not even the urge. The machinery is just ... offline, and I miss that part of me. I miss connecting with her in that way." That kind of raw honesty takes immense courage, and I respected him deeply for it. He had been to his primary care doctor, who had quickly written a prescription for an ED pill, but Henry said it felt artificial and gave him headaches. He didn't want to chase side effects. He just wanted to know, as there was still a way back to feeling like a man again, on his own terms. I walked him through the exact same simple, logical path that I've shared with you today. Turmeric to fight the underlying inflammation and support his testosterone. Ginger to boost circulation and reawaken nerve sensitivity. Cinnamon to balance his blood sugar and support the entire hormonal system. I showed him how to prepare the simple golden circulation shot each morning. Half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of ginger powder or a full teaspoon of fresh greyweed, and half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in warm water with a pinch of black pepper. And I told him the most important thing, which I'll tell you now. Henry, consistency beats intensity every single time. Just give your body this positive message every single day. And then get out of the way. Let it remember how to respond. 3 weeks later, Henry came back for his follow-up. He walked in with a different energy. He sat down, and a slow, genuine smile spread across his face. "My hands and feet aren't cold anymore," he said, holding them up as if to show me. And then, a few days ago, I woke up with morning wood. First time in over a year. I didn't even expect it. It just happened. That moment, that simple biological sign, meant more to him than any number on a lab report or any prescription I could have written. It was proof. It meant his body still worked. His hope wasn't misplaced. It meant that he wasn't broken. And that's the core message I want you to take from this. You are not broken. You are not too old. Your body is listening. It's waiting, and it is ready to come back online. Now, before you start this journey for yourself, there are a few very important things you need to know. Because while this path is natural, it is still powerful. And to do this safely and effectively, there are some key safety tips and best practices you need to hear first. Let's go over them together, carefully. 8. Safety warnings and usage tips. Long-term natural approach. Now, before you reach for your spice rack and start mixing, I want to speak to you not just as a doctor, but as someone who genuinely cares about how you feel and, more importantly, how you heal. The word natural does not mean without effect. Natural doesn't mean casual. These herbs are gentle, yes, but they are also biochemically active and powerful. Unlike anything that truly works, they need to be used with intelligence and respect. First and foremost, if you are taking any blood-thinning medications, this is critical. This includes warfarin Coumadin, clopidogrel Plavix, aspirin, or the newer anticoagulants like Xarelto or Eliquis. It is absolutely essential that you check with your physician before starting to use turmeric or ginger daily. Both of these spices have natural blood-thinning properties. They can potentially enhance the effects of your medication, which could increase the risk of bruising or bleeding. This doesn't necessarily mean use them, but it means your dose might need to be monitored, and your doctor absolutely must be in the loop. This is a team effort. Second, if you have a history of gallstones or any gallbladder issues, be cautious with turmeric. Turmeric can stimulate gallbladder contractions, which is generally a good thing, but it could trigger discomfort or a gallbladder attack in someone with existing stones. If this is you, start with a very small amount, maybe just a quarter teaspoon, and observe how your body responds. Listen to your body. Third, with cinnamon. As I mentioned, it is vital that you seek out Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon, the more common and cheaper cassia cinnamon, which is what most grocery stores sell, contains significantly higher levels of a compound called coumarin. In small, occasional doses, coumarin is fine, but when consumed daily over long periods, it can be hard on the liver. Ceylon cinnamon has only trace amounts and is much safer for daily use. This is a non-negotiable part of the protocol. Fourth, start small and be consistent. A half teaspoon of each spice once a day is usually a perfect starting dose. Mix them into warm water, a decaf tea, or even warm almond milk. Sip it slowly. Your body doesn't need a flood. It doesn't respond well to shocks. It responds to a signal, a steady, reliable, daily rhythm that says, "I'm here. I'm supporting you. I want to heal." And finally, the most important tip of all, be patient. We live in a world that promises instant gratification. This is not that. This isn't a magic bullet. It's a fundamental shift. It's a return to a way of living and healing that your body already understands. You are providing the raw materials and the right signals. Now, give your body the time and the grace it needs to do the repair work. Some men feel a difference in days. For others, it takes a few weeks. Trust the process. Now, if you've made it this far with me, I want to leave you with one final thought that ties everything together. Because this journey isn't really just about blood flow, or testosterone, or bedroom confidence. It's about something much deeper, much more fundamental. In this final message, I want to speak directly to your heart and remind you why this kind of deep healing is still possible, no matter how many years you've lived. If there's one single, powerful truth I hope you take away from our time together today, it's this: your body has not given up on you, so please, do not give up on it. It is still listening, it is still capable, and with the right, gentle, consistent support, it can still remember how to heal. We began our journey today with a simple but profound lesson from a goat named Emily, a reminder that deep within all living things there is an instinct for healing, a knowledge of what the body needs. Then, we look squarely at what really causes the decline many men experience after 60. We dismissed the lazy label of age and identified the true culprits: chronic inflammation, poor circulation, and hormonal imbalance. We explored the golden power of turmeric for calming the internal fire and protecting your masculine hormones. We uncovered the penetrating warmth of ginger for waking up your blood flow and reawakening your nerves. And we discovered the wisdom of cinnamon for bringing your entire system back into a state of stable, balanced rhythm. And we learned that when all three of these ancient healers come together, something remarkable happens. A synergy is unlocked that touches you not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. I've seen it with my own eyes in Henry, in Thomas, in Jim, and in countless other men who found their strength, their vitality, and their confidence again, with nothing more than the profound wisdom already waiting for them in their own kitchen. You do not need to chase more pills with more side effects. You do not need to become someone other than who you are. You just need to begin. Start with a little consistency, a little curiosity, and a little faith in the process. Because true, lasting healing doesn't start in a prescription bottle. It starts in your daily choices. It starts in your rhythms. It starts in your willingness to believe that your best years are not behind you. They might just be sitting in your spice drawer, waiting patiently to be stirred back to life. And if you're ready, I promise you, so is your body.